A new arms race between the world's superpowers has been brewing for the last decade, as the United States, Russia, China, and North Korea have been developing secret weapons to outsmart one another. However, the hypersonic nuclear missile, regarded as the latest and most advanced weapon of mass destruction, has given Russia and China the edge. The missile is so fast and lethal that even the latest American defense systems are ineffective against it, a severe cause for concern for a military that has been struggling to catch up with its adversaries. Several analysts have even said that if the trend continues, the US is on its way to losing a race that is starting to resemble that of the Cold War era, and after much silence, the Pentagon has finally acknowledged such concerns. Hypersonic missiles. Just like a conventional ballistic missile, a hypersonic one can deliver both traditional and nuclear payloads. The main difference between both systems lies in their speed, as a hypersonic missile can fly more than 5 times the speed of sound. Speed is the key to understanding the dangerous capabilities of a hypersonic missile, which comes in 2 variants: hypersonic cruise missiles and glide vehicles. Hypersonic cruise missiles reach their target with the help of a high-speed jet engine that allows them to travel at speeds beyond Mach 5, surpassing 3,836 miles per hour, or around 1 mile per second. The system is very different from the gravitational forces that help intercontinental ballistic missiles, or ICBMs, strike their objectives. On the other side, hypersonic glide vehicles are missiles that utilize re-entry vehicles to deliver the rocket. After being launched into space, a warhead attached to a glide vehicle makes its way through the atmosphere at hypersonic speeds. The aerodynamic shape of the missile-vehicle combo then enables the missile to ride the shockwaves generated by its own lift and increase its speed to breach enemy defense systems. A glide vehicle can surf the atmosphere between 40 and 100 kilometers in altitude. While a conventional ballistic missile flies into space in an arc trajectory to reach its objective, a hypersonic missile follows a lower and shorter one in the atmosphere to reach its target a lot faster. Like the slower subsonic cruise missile, a weapon of this nature is also highly maneuverable, making it significantly harder to track and destroy before reaching its intended target. As of today, there is no single operational missile defense system that can intercept a hypersonic missile. Getting ahead. The current missile defense systems employed by the top militaries are designed to protect against cruise and ballistic missiles, and it's yet to be seen if there's a way to counter them. As the hypersonic capabilities of missiles are relatively new, most of the knowledge is classified. Experts have speculated that technologies such as non-kinetic weapons, directed energy weapons, or particle beams could probably become the means to counter these new weapons of mass destruction. For the time being, the US Navy has been equipping its ships with 150 kilowatt lasers that can target missiles and drones. Superpowers such as Russia, China, the United States, and North Korea have already launched hypersonic missiles, while Germany, France, Australia, Japan, and India are currently working on their own. In addition, several sources claim that South Korea, Iran, and Israel have already begun studying the possibilities of developing their own hypersonic missiles. Of them all, Russia and China are currently the most advanced. And although hypersonic missiles do not necessarily overturn the nuclear balance, they will undoubtedly become a new delivery method alongside the atomic triad of ground-launched missiles, submarines, and bombers. Putin's secret weapon. On March 1, 2018, President Vladimir Putin announced that the Russian military was working on a new secret weapon that would render current NATO defenses useless in the case of regional conflict. During his annual address at the Russian parliament, Putin remarked that this classified weapon was a nuclear-capable cruise missile with unlimited range. The leaders of the Kremlin referred to it as an invincible missile that could travel at hypersonic speeds, perfectly capable of eluding any air defense systems. Many analysts around the world took Putin's words lightly, as if they were a mere exaggeration and display of force, rather than a reality. Specifically, the United States doubted Putin's claims, arguing that Russia's test of a nuclear-powered cruise missile had ended in spectacular crashes and that Putin was up for re-election. However, Putin was convinced that this new weapon would give Russia the world stage it deserved. Russia still has the greatest nuclear potential in the world, but nobody listened to us. You're going to listen now. 2 years after announcing the weapon, the echoes of Putin's words would make the world tremble when Russia announced that it had successfully launched its first hypersonic missile. Everyone doubted Russia's capabilities, but the nation delivered on October 4th, 2021, when the Russian Defense Ministry press service announced that Russia had test-launched a Zircon hypersonic cruise missile from a submarine. The Defense Ministry reported that the Zircon missile was launched from a Severodvinsk submarine deployed in the Barents Sea. Putin's words resonated more than ever when the ministry evidence proved the achievement with the release of a low-resolution video. The footage showed the hypersonic missile shooting upwards from the submarine in a disorienting glare that lit up the sky and the water. The message that accompanied the video was laconic. The ministry simply said, quote, "The test firing of the Zircon missile from a nuclear submarine was deemed successful." China's new threat. To further increase global concern, the US government acknowledged that China had already launched its own missile mere weeks after the Russian missile launch. The news came when tensions in Asia were at their highest with the aggressive militaristic approach of China towards Taiwan. The military's reaction was summed up by General Mark A. Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who said, quote, "I don't know if it's quite a Sputnik moment, but I think it's very close to that. It's a very significant technological event. It has all of our attention." It was the first time the Pentagon acknowledged the Chinese test, and American intelligence is still trying to figure out how China could merge two different technologies, a hypersonic vehicle and a missile capable of completing a partial orbit of the Earth. General Milley also added, quote, "The Chinese military capabilities are much greater than that. They're expanding rapidly in space, in cyber, and then in the traditional domains of land, sea, and air." When China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesperson Zhao Lijian was asked about China's hypersonic test during a press briefing, he said it was a spacecraft, not a missile. Quote, "This test was a routine spacecraft experiment to verify the reusable technology of spacecraft, which is of great significance for reducing the cost of spacecraft use. It can provide a convenient and cheap way for humans to use space peacefully. Many companies in the world have carried out similar experiments." Zhao also added that, quote, "China will work together with other countries in the world for the peaceful use of space and the benefit of mankind." For the time being, the US military has briefed defense and space industries about the possible threats of hypersonic and anti-satellite weapons to jumpstart the development of future military technology for the US Space Force. Although the situation is not critical, experts have pointed out that the US must rapidly catch up with China and Russia, or may otherwise lose this so-called new arms race in less than a decade. Thank you for watching our video. Please like and subscribe to our Dark Documentaries channels to find more exciting historical content. And let us know in the comments below what you think of the capabilities of all these lethal hypersonic missiles. Do you think the US will retaliate with its own missiles and defense systems?